Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ossining Public Library, the virtual public library. It's great to have you here. I'm very excited about our program tonight because we're celebrating Earth Day with this program and lots of other great programs. If you check out the library website, ossinglibrary.org, you'll see great programs for all ages. And also, I'm going to give a shout out to Green Ossining. Take a look at their website because they have some really great things happening also. But of course, it's Earth Day everywhere. So I'm, like I said, excited about our two guest speakers tonight, Amy Wu and Dr. Thuy Vuong. I'm going to introduce Amy, and then Amy's going to introduce Lei. So let me get to that. Amy Wu is an award-winning writer for the women's agricultural and ag tech movement. She is the creator and chief content director of From Farms to Incubators, a multimedia platform that uses documentary, video, photography, and the written word to tell the stories of women leaders and innovators in ag tech. It has a mission of highlighting women in food, farming, and farm tech, and especially women of color. In 2020, Amy was named on Worth Magazine's Groundbreakers 2020 list of 50 women changing the world. Very impressive. She was also a recipient of the Women in Agribusiness Award of Excellence. And prior to starting From Farms to Incubators, Amy spent over 2 decades as an investigative reporter at media outlets, including USA Today Network, where she reported on agriculture and ag tech for the Salinas Californian. Her reporting has appeared in the Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, and Time Magazine. And her book, From Farms to Incubators, comes out May 4th. So welcome to Amy and to Lei.
Oh, thank you, Diana, for that excellent introduction. I'm just really happy to be here today, especially on Earth Day week, Earth Day being April 22nd. That's really special. So I want to start out by sharing maybe a little bit more about myself and the genesis of this, the project, the book, and how it came about. And then I want to introduce a special guest this evening as well, who's joining us. And I'm super excited to actually share more about her. But first, a little bit of background about the book. So I got an early copy of the book, the one copy actually it came out. And I actually got, well, it's actually blending into my greenhouse background, but I got it. And From Farms to Incubators, Women Innovators, Revolutionizing How Our Food is Grown. It started, the story, just briefly, it started in 2016 when I was a reporter that was assigned to the Salinas Valley in California. And Salinas Valley is known for its agriculture. Actually, it's where John Steinbeck was born and wrote most of his books as well. So everything from the Grapes of Wrath to the East of Eden. And it's a $9 billion industry, agriculture in the Salinas Valley. I didn't know all of this until I got there, but 80% of the leafy greens that we eat, like lettuce and so forth, is actually grown out of Salinas. What I did notice, though, as I was reporting about this, was that there were not a lot of women leaders and decision makers in agriculture, and also in this growing sector called ag tech as well. So ag tech, what is ag tech? Ag tech is any kind of technology. It can be, it's IT, software, robots, sensors, artificial intelligence, microbes, biotech, blockchain that helps farmers grow more efficiently. So farmers are having a lot of challenges now because a lot of it stemming from climate change. There's a severe labor shortage of field workers to actually pick the vegetables and so forth, especially in California. There's water and land issues. There's lack of arable and soil depletion. And at the same time, they're faced with the pressure to feed like what is going to be 10 billion people on this planet in 2050. So it's kind of all crazy, So ag tech is really helping the farmers grow more efficiently. So I started to look around and I wondered, okay, so ag tech is starting. There's more ag tech companies and startups. I walked around Salinas and started to ask how many women, minority women entrepreneurs are there in ag tech. There was an accelerator program in Salinas, accelerator meaning a big business space, for startup companies. And I started to ask people, do you know of any women founders in ag tech? And I got a lot of blank stares at first, like, what are you asking again? So I kept asking the question, and I eventually found a handful of women who shared their stories about their journey, about why they got into the sector, what prompted them to be in ag tech. And I made a documentary in 2017 called From Farms to Incubators. And it was released and it's been screened probably at over 50 different places, including South by Southwest. So I should have stopped there because I was like, okay, the story is over for the journalist. However, I didn't expect to be so captured by the story. I increasingly got more phone calls and emails from people asking me, have you heard of this woman who started this company? Have you heard about this other company? And soon it was dozens upon dozens of stories of women founders in ag tech. So in 2018, I said to myself, how are we going to capture their stories? And I thought, why don't I do a book? Why don't I capture the portraits of these women in a book? And I started to collect the stories. And so fast forward, the book is a collection of nearly 30 profiles of women who have founded ag tech companies. A lot of them are have a connection to California, but a lot of them are really connected to all over this country. We have women in the Midwest, we have women in New York and in the Northeast, we have women in Brazil and in Australia. So it's really an international, I would have to say, movement. And the unique thing I want to talk a little bit about the book too, because I know that, there are probably fellow writers out there and creative folks out there. This is my first book. And I decided to use photography and art as an important part of this book. Why photography and why art? Because I feel like using the visuals was so critical in sharing more about what the story is and actually showing people like what is ag tech. We could do it through the written word, but also I thought the photographs were so powerful. So the book is kind of like a coffee table book. I would say more than 60% of it are photographs. Where did the photographs and art come from? They came from the women themselves. The women submitted photos that epitomize the work they do. I also went out to the Salinas Valley for a few months and ended up following the women in different places and shooting a lot of the photographs myself. There was a photographer in Salinas called Dexter Farm, who is based out of the city, who took a lot of the pictures. And then there's the artists, and I'm excited to actually later on share. One of the artists is with us tonight, so I'm really excited about that. But we had different artists that were either based locally or in New York who created art that kind of epitomized, celebrated women in ag tech as well. So that's a little bit about the book. The book took me about a few years to put together. And that is because there were so many photographs and the stories kept evolving. So they weren't static. I would find out that one woman, she ended up raising this amount of money, or now this is happening. Now she's gotten on this farm. So I kept writing and writing. And finally, at the end of 2020, I said, it's captured already a part of history. It celebrates women entrepreneurs. It celebrates this new sector called ag tech. So it ended, all the research ended in 2020, and I'm really proud about it, actually. So I'm excited to share that one of the women in the book is actually here with us tonight, and I want to talk a little bit about her. So Thuy Vuong is the founder of the Red Melon Company, and the company is based out of Davis, California. Today, she's going to join us from Davis. Davis is an amazing city. It's actually like an agriculture mecca, I think, in the US. It's the home of the University of California, Davis, which is one of the best agriculture schools, along with Cornell. Cornell also has an excellent agriculture school, too. So Lei actually has a PhD from Davis, and she'll talk a little bit more about how that connects with Red Melon. But Red Melon, her company, produces an oil extract from gac fruit or red melon using a non-solvent method as a dietary additive to improve health and vision. The company owns several patents on extract process and product formulation, and it's produced several things from this as well. So Lei has a PhD in nutrition with a focus in clinical nutrition and food chemistry from the University of California, Davis. And she's gonna join us. Lei is actually here. So Lei, your photo is here. Do you wanna, there she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have
Lei.
old iPad or something freeze. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
great.
hold on.
I can hear you. I can hear you great. And
You hear me? Oh, okay.
yes, it's coming out fantastically for me at least. And I just introduced you, and I also wanted to say that the painting in the back of Lei is of red melons. Lei is also a painter. She's like multi-talented. She painted the painting, you can't see it all, but it's of red melons. So I actually want to start out our presentation today, Lei, by walking through a photo slideshow. I'm really excited about this photo slideshow because we're going to walk through this, and Lei's going to talk a little bit more about the red melon and what the product is, what it's about, what her research is about. And then when we get to one of the photographs, we're going to pause there because I'm going to bring in the artist as well, Sergey. Great. So Lei, on our photo slideshow, tell us a little bit about what we're looking at right here. This is a newer photograph. Actually, I don't know much about this either. What are we
Yeah,
looking at?
so maybe you can show the one that of me holding the fruit. So you have some idea of what the fruit look like. That's a whole fruit. So and there's another picture of the fruit that I have in front of my my house in Davis. So the one that I just harvested last month. Let's go to the
This photo over here, Lei, the one where you're holding the red melon. Can you tell us a little bit about the fruit and how you discovered it, and what, like, it's a tropical fruit grown in Vietnam, right? Tell us a little bit about it.
So I grew up in Vietnam and familiar with this fruit because every New Year my mom always used it, and to use it to dye rice, because for us rice, the color of rice, the white color of rice is a bad luck color, the colors we use in funeral. So during the New Year we want everything red. So my mom would use this fruit, the inside of it, and cook with rice. And the rice is really nice, lustrous color, and it tastes so much better. So when I'm working on my dissertation, which is a food-based solution for the vitamin A deficiency of children in developing country, my first thought was that this fruit, just because it's just so big, so red, and I know that red color is the color of beta carotene, of lutein. So I designed my study with Vietnam in mind and with this fruit. So so my whole dissertation was carried out in northern Vietnam at the time, because the problem of vitamin A deficiency is still very prevalent in rural northern Vietnam. When I collected these samples of that area, all the vegetables and all the fruit that available in the area, this fruit would stand out. And I got a permit from the USDA to bring the fruit into this country because it's a rare fruit, and it's banned from USDA for some reason. But after we analyzed the beta carotene and lutein from the fruit, it turned out that it's a richer source of all the fruit anywhere in terms of the beta carotene. And so I carry out a large study, a clinical trial in Vietnam to compare the effect of this fruit with synthetic beta carotene from La Roche at the time, because La Roche, it's idea of giving children synthetic beta carotene to improve their vitamin A status. And it turned out that children that getting the fruit mixing with the rice have much more vitamin A and other indices in their blood than children receiving synthetic beta carotene. And of course, the control just received the color. After that, La Roche then funded another study for me to come up with a way that we can retain the beta carotene in the fruit during the seasons the fruits are not available, which is during the summer and the winter. So I came up with the way that we can extract oil from the arrow of the fruit using no solvent and using only material that people have in the village so that they can make the oil themselves and keep it. And with that process, I presented to UC Davis, and later on, since they were not interested, I patented the process, and that's the only process available at that time using no solvent to extract carotenoids from this fruit.
It's amazing.
So in this picture, you see here is how people would prepare the rice. They mix in the fruit and the seeds and the seeds pulp, and that's have the richest source of beta carotene, and mix in with the rice, and then steam the rice with the seed still intact. After that, they're very easy to remove the seed, and the seed with the heat, it activated the seed, and so that they can grow the seed for the next season. There's another pictures of, yeah, that's the picture of the fruit in Davis. And
so
that's
I want to ask you about this photo a little bit. When I visited you in 2018, I know that you were trying to grow the red melon in your at your home, and you were saying it was very challenging. And I don't know if you actually were able to grow any, but this photo came in this past winter. Can you talk a little bit about how you got success to growing the red melons this season? And this looks tremendously huge. I mean, what did you do?
Yeah, so my husband and I, we decided to purchase a farm in actually in southeast Davis, in a town called Elk Grove. And so we started growing red melon there. And the challenge is because it's such a large chunk of land and in the middle of nowhere, in the winter, it's no protection with a lot of wind. So we couldn't get any flowers at all. And after 2 years, we moved back to Davis. And in a smaller, I have just a small lot. And I think it's more protected within the city and within other houses around. And this is the first year ever we got the fruit. Actually, the fruit are very big, and it's quite a sight for people around here. Everybody just stop and look at it, and I'm very happy. I think this year we're going to have another crop. And I think just because of maybe the location and the climate.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a picture
amazing.
of the farm that we started in Elk Grove. I think you visited the farm
Photo
too.
with you and David, that was the farm, right, in Elk Grove, and it was
Yes,
called Pink Farm. This is when I
yes,
met you in 2018 and came out to take photos. So you were growing red melons here too, right?
yes, yes, yeah.
So this is a photo of you in Vietnam, is that right?
Yes, 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 with the children in Vietnam. Well, see how much younger I look.
Where was this taken?
Yes. And then I think there's other pictures that the inside of the fruit. Mm,
Yeah.
yes, so this is the inside of the fruit. And the part, the red part you see here, that actually the seed pulp. And the outside of the fruit also contain lycopene, lutein. And right now I'm working on the process to extract it out, other ingredient from the outside.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the fruit I harvest from Southern California.
So Lei, from my memory, the fruit grows well in tropical areas. Is that correct? Is it who do you still have farmers growing it, or who's supplying who's growing the red melons now for your oil and all
So the bulk of the supplies from Vietnam, and I also started a farm in Costa Rica about probably 5 years ago. But before that, my sister having close to an acre of land in Southern California. And she's the first one who successfully grew this fruit in the US. And every year we harvest probably about 200 pounds of food.
that? Oh wow.
So I don't think we have any problem growing this fruit in the US, particularly in southern states like Florida, Texas, Alabama. I mean, in any areas that have the coldest temperature above 34 degrees.
Hmm. Maybe this is jumping ahead a little bit, but if people want to eat this or purchase this, is it purchasable, or can people access this now in the U.S. markets?
Yeah, I think in this Vietnamese community, you can find the fruit on the market probably at the end of the year. One thing though, the food doesn't have much flavor.
Hmm.
So usually people use it to dye rice. It's just a tradition among Vietnamese. I have the oil, which is more convenient to use if you want to mix in with rice, use it as salad dressing, or for very much like olive oil, and that's available. It's on the website, and the yeah, later on you can show that.
So there's a photo of a seed, right? So I want to focus on that picture for just a second here, but just a little bit of background. This is a red melon seed. It's the size of a quarter, and this is a piece of this is amazing. And we have the artist here tonight actually as well, Sergey Jyvtin, who's here. I would love Sergey to talk a little bit about the seed that he carved. This is a red melon seed that Lei sent. This is over. Can you talk a little bit about the background of this and the inspiration and what's carved on there, how you did it?
Sure. I can. First of all, can you can hear me, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join you. And actually, it's very nice to meet Lei finally, online, to interact with you because the way that this particular seed came and the story of the seed and the artwork came together was through Amy, because she recited sort of the background of the company and of the seed, and I tried to illustrate the basic features of all of those and depict it in the seed itself. So when I do a project like that, and I travel around the country, connect with lots of different growers, lots of different farmers, and they give me like a seed, and they share a story, something about themselves, something about what they do, how they do, why that seed is special, and then I interpret their story and hand engrave that story in a seed itself. So in this particular case, when Amy sort of shared all of that information about Red Melon, first of all, the fruit itself, then Lei and the background of the company, and how beneficial, let's say, that the chemistry of the seed is for medicinal purposes, then I try to kind of figure out how to put all of that information into a single motif and make it look like, really kind of presented in a beautiful way. So what you see here is the outline of Vietnam and then the outline of California, and they're juxtaposed kind of next to each other. Strangely, both of these regions have same amount of land. It's kind of like, almost equal amount of acreage in between them. So it was like a really nice balance, but by happenstance. And then because of the medicinal nature of the oil that gets produced from the seed, I decided to use the bowl of Hygeia, which is the symbol of pharmacy, the symbol of this. And then instead of a snake that kind of wraps around the stem of the bowl, which is normally in that symbol, I tried to use, I tried to switch it with the vining the plants, which is, how it grows. It actually trellises on top. So instead of a snake, you have a gag plant. And at the top, instead of the snake head that is sort of releasing the venom into the bowl itself, you have a sliced gag plant, and then that drop of that oil is collected in that bowl. So it kind of like all of these elements came together, and I sort of like the seed already for me had like the topography. It looked like a landscape, almost like a lunar landscape. So I kind of revealed, I sanded into the bag, almost like the inner core of the seed, and it revealed this really beautiful kind of orange, orange brown light background. And I tried to kind of work the features of the maps and then the features of, the Hygeia cup motif into the composition of what revealed to me. So in a sense, it's like you're almost like looking into the inside of the seed, and you're reading, this story of, again, like of Lei, who literally saw, the potential of what's inside that seed. And so it's almost like, for me, it was like, oh, okay, so I'm revealing something that's already there. To the outside, to everybody else. So but that's how I kind of I saw that project, and then of course, like with all of these seeds, what I do is, it's like once I depict the story, I gift all of these seeds back to the people who brought them. And one of the really curious features is that, the seeds are still alive. And as I engrave into them, it actually helps them germinate. So some people actually would plant these seeds, and they would take care of the plants, collect the seeds for for the following season. And, sometimes I would redo the project for them if they wanted to do it. But it's like I'm working with a living entity, and I try to keep it that way. I try to really be as careful with the seed as possible. So to me, it's really, it's really precious, but it's not, the artwork itself is not really precious, because I feel like if you plant it, it's as important, because it almost completes the cycle of life, and it reintroduces that story back into the next generation of plants. And we can sort of conceptually see it in that. And the photograph can always stay. The photograph can be a memento. It doesn't have to be that actual seed.
Well,
So
watching you carve it too. I mean, this is.
Yeah, there is also a video. Yeah, there is also a video of actually Amy stopping by the studio, and and us interacting, and like as I'm working with it, I'm introducing more and more features, and it's kind of like the story evolves, the motif evolves, and so there is also a little video on Vimeo of the process. So you can actually if you Google my name and maybe red melon seed, like it'll pop up. You'll be able to find it on Vimeo. So
yeah, that would be great. Maybe you want to put that in the chat box or share that later. But
oh yeah, I can also do that. Yeah, that's cool.
This photo is in the book as well, and Sergey also carved a lima bean. Is that right? It was a lima bean, and you carved.
Yeah, there were 2 lima beans that your logo was. Yeah, your logo reminded me of.
It's amazing. I can hold these little beans, and you can carve these pieces of amazing art into them. So I'm always fascinated by that. So
well, thank you for thank you for allowing to share the story. The stories through my art, and end up in your book. But it's always like, to me, the most interesting part is actually hearing the stories of all these different people, and how in their own personal way, how they see the potential in seeds, and how their personal story can be almost like thought of as like it's inside the seed. And now, like listening to Lei talk about the extraction process and all of those things, like that's also really, really fascinating. So it's always a pleasure to hear all of those additional details, of basically our interconnection with plants, with all of those pretty incredible relationships that we build and reveal through seeds and through agriculture, and people who who have a different vision of something that's greater, something there is a lot of potential.
Well, that's beautiful, and please put the link into the chat box. The film was excellent too, the short documentary that you made of Lei. I'm really happy that for the first time you guys are connecting today, and then there's the seed that's in the middle of this. This is great. So thank you so much, Sergey.
Excellent. I'm very happy to participate, but I might run out in the middle of the the next segment. So please forgive me for that.
It's an honor having you.
Yeah, I just want to say I really I'm so impressed, Sergey. Also honored to know you. I went to your website to look at all the art that you created. It's just amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to to illustrate your story in the seed. So thank you.
Yeah. If it's possible, if I can get your contact information, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's on the website too. So
okay.
you can actually,
Okay,
or
so
Amy will give it to you as well. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. All right, signing off.
Connecting. Okay. So I thought, we could launch a little bit of a question and answer with Lei to get a better sense of where. Okay, we're all back again. I'm going to start with just one question. Then I'd really like to open it up to to all of you out there today, to ask us any questions, ask Lei any questions. But I was going to say, I met Lei. It's been 5 years now. I met Lei in 2017, actually, and it was what was interesting about it was like 5 or 6 years ago, we were talking about, I was always captivated with your story, Lay. And one of the things that we talked about was building a company, building the Red Melon Company, building a team and growing it into a company. So I remember some of the challenges that you said you faced was actually building a team and also getting more investment. Can you talk about, like, how what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a female entrepreneur in ag tech, and how have you weathered these challenges like 5 years later? I know it's a broad question, maybe just pick pick one.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure that a challenge I have would not be representative of other challenges of other entrepreneurs have. For me, raising capital is always the most difficult for me. So, and I still dealing with it now. And we have, well, I have Pemeron, who's a seasoned entrepreneur and very successful one, now helping me in that area. And I hope that we have, we're bringing capital and would have more people in the team. And we put together an e-commerce platform on our website so that people can order the products, the oil, and other supplements also from the oil. What else? Well,
So I was going to ask, you answered a little bit of this, but what now for Red Melon? You're creating, it sounds like you're wanting to get the oil into products, is that right? Or what's next for the company? What are you producing with oil?
Yeah, that's I have several ideas that we have. The main thing I want is to be able to use the natural colors from red melon to replace all the toxic color that we use now in food, in cosmetics, in drugs. Mm-hmm. And that's my mission. Also, the red melons contains not only the color, but it's such a rich, source of essential fatty acid and carotenoids and antioxidants. So my goal is to be able to add that ingredients into the food now that we use, so that we don't have to use any either synthetic or ingredients that have been produced by the process that introduce other toxics to our food.
Right.
There's a carotenoid, we just say lutein, and sometimes lycopene too, that we use. Sometimes to extract it out in the process, they have to introduce solvents. And if you use it day in, day out as a supplement, I think that's not, I don't think that's good. So my goal is to be able to replace the carotenoids right now that we extracted out from other source with the carotenoids from red melon, which is so abundant and it's so easy to extract.
Yeah, before we turn the questions to our audience and guests tonight, I wanted to ask you, talk a little bit about the motivation again behind all of this. You mentioned, I think it was your daughter, right? Or what was the inspiration between connecting this with health and wellness, sustainable agriculture? Like, you talk a bit about your motivation.
Well, I'm actually a computer scientist at the beginning, and have 2 daughters, was born with metabolic problem. And that prompted me to decide to go back to school and learn about food, about that we use, and the link between diet and diseases. And then I also realized that we have so much in our food system that if we can efficiently use it and without using any other chemicals, maybe we can reduce the problem that we have now. And just having daughters with its problems, I think that motivate me to learn more about something that I didn't think that's important at the beginning. And now I'm totally, I think, really passionate about it.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of questions from our audience out there, our guests out there tonight. I'm excited to see so many folks out there. So I think we're gonna, in our time together, I'd like to throw it out there. Let's get questions from our participants tonight.
I'm going to turn my camera off because I think I have problem with my system when the camera is on. Sometimes that it gets jerky. So
yeah, not an issue. I always realize there's a bit of bandwidth thing. So anyway, we're really happy that we got Lei on the camera before. So let's take some questions, right, Diana?
Yeah, if anybody wants to just unmute and ask Amy or Lei any questions, or put it in the chat box and we can take a look at it. Amy, I was thinking of a question for you, actually. I mean, Lei's story is amazing. And I'm just wondering if you can give us some ideas of some of the other women that you found that you included in the book, like what other amazing things are happening out there. I mean, you know, just a couple that really stood out for you, maybe.
Oh, I could talk on and on. There are so many, so many amazing stories and women. So a couple of them that do stand out for me, and they're also in the documentary and book, is that there's two parts of this. One is what's amazing is the technology and innovation they've created. The other is their story. I'm going to name some of the innovations that have captivated me. The self-driving tractor. There's a woman who owns this company called Bear Flag Robotics and created a tractor that drives itself. There was a company that addresses food safety, and the woman that did this created a machine called the Hydra, where you put in strawberries and berries and nuts in a drawer, and you put it in this machine, and it basically grades the fruits and the berries, like it's like a food safety, operator. Yet it's like it uses artificial intelligence. So these are some of the examples of the innovations that I've had so much fun with over the years, just like watching them and listening to them and seeing the innovations. The stories themselves of each individual woman is quite amazing. I would say that Diana, there's some commonalities with all of the women that I've talked to so far. They all want to address big impact issues. And I would say a lot of the women that I've interacted with have strong backgrounds in STEM, in science, technology, engineering, and math. And a lot of them, they want to make a difference. And I realize that sounds like very broad, but they have an innovation that's going to help a farmer, and they want to have a solution that provides something for the food system, whether it be food safety, whether it be distribution, whether it be healthier soil and so forth. So all of the stories have captivated me in some way.
Thank you, Amy. That's amazing. I can't wait for the book. Brian had a question in the chat box. Is Red Melon known by any other names? And can we buy it outside of the Vietnamese community, which Lei mentioned?
The Vietnamese name of red melon is GAC, G-A-C, and you can buy it probably in Asian grocery market, but it's frozen. Yeah, if you go to frozen section, sometimes they call it baby jackfruit, which is totally wrong because it's not jackfruit and it's not a baby jackfruit either.
That's interesting. Yeah, I thought it kind of looked like jackfruit, but totally different. So that's really interesting to know. And we have in our area, we have H Mart and different Asian stores that I know a lot of you know about. Yeah. Mary also had a question. Do the women that you featured in the book and documentary know each other, or have you worked together in some way?
That's a really good question. I would say that none of the women featured in the book or documentary knew of each other, which was really fascinating to me, because when I first screened the film and first had these panel discussions where we would have 4 or 5 women from the film there, they would look at each other and they would say, wow, I didn't know that she had this company. I didn't know of her. And they would afterwards, they would ask, can we have each other's emails? But I think over the years, what's been interesting is like a number of them have connected with one another. And like Lay mentioned Pam Marone. And Pam is an amazing woman. She actually was one of the women. She launched her company called Marone Bio Innovations in 1996. She's one of like the grandmothers, I think, of ag tech. And it's it's a publicly traded company now. But I called her up and I said, do you know of any women at all in ag tech? And she mentored a bunch of them and connected me with them. So it was very interesting. So I see a question, where can we see the movie? That's an excellent question. So the documentary, the initial one came out in 2017 and it was updated after I got a grant in 2018. Lay is in both of those films. You can see the movie on farmstoincubators.com now. It's screened at a number of festivals. It's screened at South by Southwest, and I decided to make it available. So if for any reason you can't find it on the website, please email me. And it continues to be a really inspiring film. It's a short documentary, but to this day, like 5 years later, when I myself watch it, I'm really, it always captivates me. So yeah.
I put the website in the chat box for everyone. And Amy, are there any future book projects that you have in mind, also from Mary?
So I would say that, the book project I'm actually thinking of is not related to women in agriculture. Another passion of mine, I'm just going to flip off, is open water swimming. So I've been writing about open water swimming, and that is kind of connected with my love for the outdoors and environment, back to the Earth Day theme again. But I've thought about definitely doing a sequel documentary, though, to the original, because 5 years later, I've often wondered, like, I think an interesting part of the story is what happened to all the women. Are they still continuing with their companies? Have they gone to do something else? Have the farmers accepted their technology? So that might be the next project, is to go back to the original documentary.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea, Amy. I have another question for Lay, actually. I'm wondering, Lay, if you can tell us sort of what's happening in Vietnam as far as agriculture. I mean, there's a certain, incredible history of agriculture there, but with women in particular, sort of coming outside of the traditional roles. So kind of what's happening in ag tech there.
I think Vietnamese, in Vietnam, women are always, I think, in the dominant role in agriculture. And women are much more entrepreneur in Vietnam in a way, and probably particularly in Vietnam because Vietnam has a long history of war, and the men usually are not trained in any other field but fighting. So now in peace, Vietnamese women to me are much more capable. I worked mainly with women in Vietnam. After my project in Vietnam, I spent about, I guess, 7 years back and forth between Vietnam and the States. And every year I see the change significantly in Vietnam in terms of the funding, how easy it is for people to form companies, particularly in with Red Melon. I think the project have a long-lasting effect. People start growing it everywhere because they see now there's a market for it, and also they see the benefit of the fruit. So and there's several companies in Vietnam producing the products from Red Melon. I would love to go back to the village where I worked probably 20 years ago and see how that changed. But I'm quite sure that the landscape would change quite a bit. And all the children that used to be in this study, we might grow up now. And
That'd be a great follow-up study, though, to check their health if they, have been using the red melon in their food and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is another question from Mary to Lay. Have you found difficulties with red melon production with climate change? Or to either of you, how has climate change affected food production or ag tech? Great question.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. In general, I have to say yes. For red melon, it has been challenging because at first I thought that would be difficult to grow red melon in California, in Northern California. But I have to say, with the climate change, we have some years that is totally different. Last year, for example, we have a long summer, and the heat helps in terms of, that's why I think we have the fruit way later. Actually, we started having fruit at the beginning of this year. Usually it's very cold here. So so that's a change. I'm sure that have more negative effect on other crops. But for red melon, that's what I see. Thank you for the questions. I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I would say on the heels of that, it absolutely, climate change has meant that in general, a lot of the growers have maybe had to change their crop planning, the types of crops that they have to grow and when to grow it. And that's a significant impact on on their own, on the farm, but also on their business. And also eventually what what is put out into the market for consumers as well. So that's been tremendous, actually. And also with regards to climate change, the soil health is a tremendous issue. The amount of farmable soil is declining, and farmers are now finding different strategies on how to address that. Everything from cover cropping to reduced tillage and minimum tillage. So that's an excellent question. Wow, I see that our time has flown, actually, and we have a few minutes left. But this is exciting because we have a special activity actually for everybody here. We have a trivia question actually today. And whomever I'm going to ask, I will ask the question, but whoever gets the closest to the answer will get a signed copy. You will win a signed copy of the book that's coming out, the forthcoming book. So one thing is that I will ask the question. You're going to have to type your answer into the chat box in Zoom. And like I said, whoever gets closest to that answer will get the signed book. Okay. So the trivia question is, In 2021, when was National Ag Day? Don't be shy now. Type in your best guess in the chat box. And I have another surprise after the question. Okay, I see answers coming in. Should we give everybody like a few more seconds here? And then I'll need a little bit more time. Okay, the question again was, when was National Ag Day in 2021? All right, counting down. I guess I'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any more, Diana?
I don't know, Amy, we've got like maybe a 4-way almost tie there. It's not quite correct.
Yeah.
4
Yeah,
answers
we have an
that are
answer above as well. I see.
Oh, I didn't-
We have one above.
oh, I see that. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for participating. The answer is that National Ag Day in 2021 was March. Oh,
20. Yeah,
March
March 23rd. Yeah. So it looks like Brian is definitely the closest. Yay. Congratulations.
But there's more. There's
Uh-oh,
another.
there's more? I didn't
Well,
see
no,
it.
there's
Oh,
another
March
part to my
23rd.
surprise. Okay, so that was our trivia question. Okay, so here's the other exciting part is that the first annual Women in Food and Farming Festival is coming up on May 8th. It's going to be held in Hudson Valley, New York, specifically in Stone Ridge. It is actually a 2-day event on May 8th and May 9th, but you can pick and choose. I have 3 comp tickets for that event and everything that's coming up, and that includes a goodie bag. It includes that you're able to go and see. There's going to be at least 30 vendors there. There's going to be speakers. There's going to be there's going to be cider tasting as well, local foods as well. And again, that's May 8th and that's May 9th. So if you're interested in that, please connect with Diana or myself as well on that. Again, it's 3 comp tickets for the first national, I was going to say first National Women's Food and Farming Festival. It's the first Women Food and Farming Festival, and it's being held in Hudson Valley on May 8th and 9th. So that's really exciting. And I think there's going to be actually speakers from all over, not just in Hudson Valley. So thank you so much.
And if people are interested, first people who email us, Amy, will get the tickets. That's great.
That's
All right.
great.
Any more questions or last chance? I want to thank Amy and Lei so much for an amazing talk. I mean, I learned so much. I can't wait to go to some of these websites and everything and find out more. And I look forward to reading your book, Amy. And I really appreciate you taking the time, and Sergey also for coming in. That was great. So thank you very much. We do have a video. I'm going to try to post it on the Austining Library YouTube channel. So let me know if you have any follow-up, and thank you all so much for coming, and be well and take care and be healthy, and happy Earth Day week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Beverly, are you interested in the tickets? Is she still there? Yeah.
I would be. This is Brian.
Brian, you would be?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me just, you get the book too, Brian.
Yeah, it's a big bonus for me tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, you really, for sure. Yeah, and Beverly too. We can, I think, is
I'm
one,
interested as well.
and
My
Chris.
name's Chris. Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. She had 3, so let me just write down, make sure, I should have your email from when you registered.
Yeah.
So let me, hang on one second, Chris, let me just. And I'll talk to Amy about getting those to you, okay? And
That would be
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
have fun, it's great. Learn lots of stuff and let us know, okay?
Thanks a
Awesome,
lot,
thanks
Diana.
everybody. All right, take care. All right, be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.